Hey everybody, this video is part of our full-length The Onside Kick podcast. You can find that on Blog Talk Radio, iTunes. You can pretty much find it anywhere, so we don't care where you listen. Just stick around and check it out.
But that'll bring us into our next topic, and this one kind of started because today, Sean, in our group text message, sent us a tweet from Kyle Smith, and he's a guy who does a podcast called the AFC East Bros, where two brothers host a podcast. And here's the tweet, and take the source as you may, because it's obviously not someone from ESPN, NFL Network, but it says, rumor from Senior Bowl, Bills may be interested in trading up to 1 to draft Trubisky. Whaley is no stranger to trading up. And Mark, I just want to, obviously the draft is something we're going to talk a lot about, especially after this week when the Super Bowl is over. But I want to ask you this, whether it be the Browns that they trade with or the Niners that they trade with, if you are the Bills, are you trading up to 1 or 2 in order to grab a quarterback?
Hell no. Simple as that. No, I'm not going to do that shit. Why would I do that? That's a terrible idea. One, because I don't see the value in either one of these quarterbacks. Whether it's Trubisky, whether it's, well, I should throw Kaiser in there, or if it's Deshaun Watson. I don't see the value. I mean, people were pretty high on Kaiser. Kaiser was my favorite initially, but people have kind of forgotten about him.
Which could be good. He could fall, and teams can get him at a better value.
Oh, totally. And if you can get him in the second round, that's much, much more worth your time. Deshaun Watson, you know, I definitely think he's the most exciting pick. He's the sexy pick here. But I have concerns about him. I forgot who it was that made the Vince Young comparison, but I think it's pretty interesting comparison down below in one of our videos. And then, of course, it was
the Behind the Pen one where we talked about Deshaun Watson.
Yep. I liked that comparison.
Could be eerily similar because you think about it, won the national championship on his year out, had the run almost to the same corner of the end zone, and is the same type of quarterback, essentially.
For sure. Yep. You guys just know that I'm scared of mobile quarterbacks. They don't last long. They get hurt.
Well, hey, Deshaun Watson said, "Don't call him a dual threat quarterback. He's a pocket passer."
You're not actually a pocket passer, though. I understand if you want to be one, but you're currently not one. And then, of course, my big complaint about Trubisky is that he just needed another year. And I get it. You know, this was the perfect time for him to come out because hell, he could be picked number 1 overall, but hell, if he's just picked in the first round, this was the correct time to come out. But at the same time, he just isn't ready. It's just that simple. He needs time to develop. And if he does get taken early by a team like Buffalo, that's horrible for him. He's not going to get that success. He needs an Aaron Rodgers type of treatment. He needs to go to, the Pittsburgh Steelers and hope that Big Ben sticks around for another year. You know, he needs to go to maybe Kansas City or to New Orleans where he can sit behind a good quarterback and just get a little bit better, get prepared a little bit more, and then take that step forward. You know, I'm proud of Denver for not having Paxton Lynch start immediately, and he definitely was not ready to in that case, but that's what he's going to need. And yeah, there's just no value. There's no reason for any team to trade for a quarterback.
Well, and if I'm the Browns, I am, and later in the podcast, we're going to discuss where they should take a quarterback in the draft. But if I am the Browns, I am telling myself, fuck it, we'll trade with you. Because the one thing I look at is just look to last year. Because the Browns and the Niners both have a template of what they could ask for, what the asking price could be. Because it's one of those things where what's the most important position to a team?
Quarterback.
The quarterback. So it don't matter if these guys are Andrew Luck, John Elway, Tom Brady, or Vince Young. The fact is, we got the chance to draft a quarterback.
And we need one.
You want that chance. What are you going to give us to do it? And just to play this game, last year when the Titans gave up their pick along with their 4th and their 6th, what they got from the Rams was they got a first, which was the 15th overall pick. They got the 43rd and the 45th, who were both in the second round. The 76th, which was a third round. So 2 seconds, a third, and a first. And then they got a first and a third for this year's draft. That's why they've got a top, 10 pick because of the Rams. And if I look at what the Bills have so far this year, if we follow that same template, they have the first. It's about 5 picks sooner, though. It's 10. They only have 1 second-round pick, which is the 44th overall pick, and then their third-round pick is the 75th. So if you're the Bills, in order to trade for the number 1 pick, if I'm using last year as a reference, you're going to have to give up 2 first-rounders for sure. You're going to have to give up most likely 2 third-rounders. So you're giving up your first and your thirds for the next 2 years if you have the 2018 ones, because I have not looked at that one yet. I'm just looking at what they have in this draft. But the thing is, because they don't have that second round pick, what are you going to do to compensate that? Do you give up a second next year? They don't have a 4th round pick that was traded to the Bears in 2016. I mean, they do have They have 2 5th round picks to use. They have the 139th and 152nd. I don't know if the Browns are going to want that. And then if you look for the second overall, this is what the Niners could ask for. I mean, it depends on what John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan want to do. But the Eagles ended up sending 5 picks. They sent the number 8 pick overall, which for a second rounder, that was for the second overall, we gave up a higher value pick for the second than the Rams gave up for the first.
But that's desperation.
They gave up the first, the third, and the 4th in last year's draft, and then a first-round pick this year and a second-round pick next year. So if I'm the Bills, I'm looking at that second overall pick. Because to me, the thing that I think is I don't think the Browns are taking quarterback number 1 overall. I don't think they're going to do it. I think they're going to go Myles Garrett. There's a reason why they came out and said they have an astronomical grade for him.
Well, he's the best player in the draft, no doubt about it.
I think they're going to take him. The thing is, I think the Niners are the team they look at, and the Niners go, we're making a trade. And if the Niners could go ahead and, yet again, using that Eagle Brown as a reference, if they could snap up the 10th overall pick, the 75th overall pick, then a 4th rounder. The Bills don't have a 4th rounder. Maybe you can try to get one of their 5th rounders and then get a 1st round pick and a 2nd round pick in the future. If I'm the Niners, no brainer. I go, yes, give me that. If you're willing to give me that,
they got a lot.
Gimme always gets. That's what I'm saying.
They have a lot to fix. They definitely have that. The thing is, if you're the Cleveland Browns, the 49ers, the Bears, the Jaguars, there's no reason why you don't trade back if you can. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of good defensive talent in this draft in the first round. You're going to get somebody that's good, and then you're going to get a lot more players as well. The thing is that there's no real reason that I see for one of these teams to trade up. You talk about the Browns, they need a quarterback, sure, but they're not going to take one number 1 overall. The 49ers might take one because they have a new coach and a new GM.
They could.
The Bears, if the 49ers take a quarterback, Bears are not, but I really don't think the Bears are going to take a quarterback no matter what.
If the Bears, let's say the Niners take a quarterback, the Bears, if they don't take Jonathan Allen, I will go on record saying that is a stupid move if you pass on Jonathan Allen.
I don't want Jonathan Allen. I would rather have the safety. If I can't get Myles Garrett, I want a safety. Give me either a hooker, give me Allen. But
I'll spoil it right now here, Mark, because basically Mike Rankin already spoiled it. In my second mock draft that I'm coming out with, you guys are getting Malik Hooker.
I would take that. I would not be upset about it.
Mainly because of his ball skills.
And I'm not upset about Jonathan Adams. I would rather have a safety than a defensive tackle in that case. We got a lot of things up front. We need a lot of things in back. But anyways, Jacksonville Jaguars, they don't need a quarterback, probably. Titans don't need one. Jets, they need one, sure. But they have a lot of needs as well. And that's another one of those situations where if the 49ers took the quarterback, I don't know that the Jets will take one. So for Buffalo, you can just sit there and you might have that second quarterback, whether it's Trubisky or whether it's Watson, fall to 10.
If it's up to Mel Kiper, he even has Deshaun Watson falling to the Bills at 10.
Yeah.
So really, do you have to trade up in do you have to trade up in the first place?
I don't think you do. I think a lot of these teams that do need a quarterback, I don't think they're going to take that quarterback. I know we're all expecting one of these drafts where guys like Christian Ponder go way earlier than they probably need to, or Jake Locker, things like that. But there are times where teams sit back and say, okay, yeah, it's not worth it right now. We'll take someone else because we have other needs too. And I can easily see that being this draft. And as much as I like to say lots of quarterbacks go because teams love taking quarterbacks, every now and then you get a time where one quarterback's taken in the first round. No quarterbacks are taken in the first round. It's totally possible.
And here's another thing I look at, and this goes more for the Browns. The reason why I would lean for the Browns to not trade with the Bills and say, you know what, we're just going to make the pick is because if you trade with them, you'll obviously, the 10th overall pick will be in that deal. Then you're at 10 and 12. So basically, your strategy for 12 doesn't really change, but for 10, it kind of does. And at that point, if you're looking defensive ends, if I'm going based off of Mel Kiper's draft, there's a chance that Solomon Thomas could be off the board. Could be off the board, though. He could have went to Cincinnati. And then your next best kind of defensive end is he's got the next one going 19th with Taco Carlton from Michigan going to the Buccaneers. So, I mean, you could take one at 10. Could be a reach. It doesn't know. We're going to get to the draft, and all these rankings are going to change until we get up moments before. But one of the things that I think could also help is, do the Browns try to make a trade with the Bills just because, hey, I know at 10 it'll be tricky picking off and then pick again, but we're going to get a future first out of it, and next year's first is the one that's really going to mean something to us.
Yeah. Well, plus in that type of situation, you're in a great spot where you're sitting there with a 10 and a 12. Where
you can trade back up.
Well, trade back up, or you can say, hey, are there two guys that we want? No, only one guy we really are that great on?
Trade back again.
All right, can we trade back again? Exactly. You're in a good spot of control in that situation. Or what you're saying is, let's say we get to 8 and they're with Carolina Panthers, or maybe 7 with San Diego Chargers, and they're like, damn, our guy's right there. We really want that guy. Well, you can package something to get your way back up. Totally possible. But for me, it's just I don't see the value for the Buffalo Bills to move up, especially with the fact that Tyrod Taylor is on your team. You can get a competent quarterback who will do enough for you, who was not the problem last year, and there's nothing wrong with that. Why is Tyrod Taylor suddenly something you don't want? That makes no sense to me. I don't see that. Buffalo, there's no reason for you to trade up. There's no reason for you to go get your quarterback right now. Not in the first round, that is. You have a good stopgap. You have a good option in place.
And the Bills do have one pick in each round for 2018. So they do have assets that they could trade for the 2018 draft as well. And they do have their second round. Actually, they have all their picks for the 2019 too. So kind of like going back, like I said, that second round pick.
Yeah.
With the Bills, though, to get back to them, they've got Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah.
That's the thing
they
that
don't
we
have
didn't
a
mention
quarterback
before.
need.
They have Tyrod Taylor.
For some reason, they don't like him, but you don't have a need at quarterback. You created a need that doesn't exist. For some reason, by creating a bad relationship with this quarterback. And it makes no sense to me. You guys need to kiss his feet and make everything better. Kiss and make up.
Well, and because of having Tyrod Taylor, my first thought is, do you need to move up and get Deshaun Watson? I know what everyone's going to say. I know it right now. But Ricky, if you want to go and get a quarterback, go and get the best one. But really, there's going to be guys that you can get after round 1 that will work. One of the guys that had a really nice weekend at the Senior Bowl, Cal quarterback Davis Webb. And there's even now, of course, I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. Someone was bound to do it. Colin Cowherd even has a segment from his radio show today where you want to know what the title of the video is called, Mark?
Sure.
Is Cal quarterback Davis Webb the next Dak Prescott?
Of course.
That's what's happened.
It's an easy comparison to make.
That's an easy click. That's an easy click. Oh, I want to see. I'm going to click it right now just to see what's going on. But my point is, there are quarterbacks that you can get. Another quarterback that had a good weekend this past weekend at the Senior Bowl, Joshua Dobbs. There are guys that you can go ahead and get. Yeah, are they Deshaun Watson? Do they have the name hype ability of Mitch Trubisky? No. But if you take one now, and guess what? It doesn't turn out. Next year's class is supposed to be better. You can just get a first-round quarterback then.
Sure, and one thing about that, too, is for the Buffalo Bills, you have other options.
I would say get offensive line first.
Yeah.
Beef up that offensive line so Tyrod Taylor has something to throw behind.
That would make perfect sense to me. It's just, I don't see any reason for any team to really trade up. I think there's a lot of good talent here. In this draft, at least into the very, the top 10 or something like that, top 15. There's a lot of good talent in the top 10, top 15. You don't need to move around. You really don't. There's no real reason for that. Stick where you are, make your choice, get a good team, and worry about that quarterback situation later, unless you're the Bills and your quarterback situation is already, I don't want to say solved, but you got it pretty well figured out already.
Well, and the last thing I'm going to ask you, and this has to deal with your hometown Bears.
Duh, Bears.
Let's say the Browns draft Garrett.
Uh-huh.
The Niners, it was nice talking to you, but we're going to take either Mitch Trubisky or Jonathan Allen.
Okay.
Let's say they take Jonathan Allen for this one.
Okay.
If Mitch Trubisky and Deshaun Watson are still there, and you are John Fox, and you are Ryan Pace, how eagerly are you picking up that phone and going, "Hey Buffalo, what's up? How you doing today?
Yeah,
we got something you may want
for sure."
How eager are you to get a deal done? And would that happen? Could that be a draft day trade we see?
Draft day for sure, because the Chicago Bears would be
really
in a good
draft night. It would be
sure. The Chicago Bears would be in a good position in that case of saying, "Yeah, Jacksonville doesn't need a quarterback. Yeah, Tennessee doesn't need a quarterback, but
the
New York
Jets
does.
do.
New York needs a quarterback, and hey, Jacksonville and Tennessee aren't on the phone with you right now. We're on the phone with you right now. Do you want to make that trade? I think it's worth making the phone call. Would I expect them to do it?
Do you call in Kevin Costner to make that deal?
You probably
draft
could.
day.
You'll give up a lot of picks, but then you'll get them all back, then plus even more.
Because that's how trading works.
Yeah, it's exactly how it works. And nobody remembers the trade; they just remember the player. So
why didn't anyone want to go to his birthday? I don't know.
I don't know what was wrong with that kid with his birthday party. And then that's the one too with the dollar, right? The $100 bill, and he never mentioned anything. He never mentioned anything about the $100 bill
because he never read the playbook.
Yep. Oh, it's funny. I prefer Moneyball's. Well, he obviously has bad eyes. Did you see his girlfriend? I prefer Moneyball's version of scouting. But anyways, Bears, they totally should make that call in that situation, but I don't expect any trades. I really don't.
You don't?
No.
In the end of it.
Not in the top.
What do you think the percentage is for both teams, Browns and Niners, that they trade their pick to the Bills and the Bills go up and get a quarterback either before the draft or on the draft?
Well, I mean, I pretty much just said 0, but
I thought that was just for the Bears.
For the Cleveland Browns, I don't think they're going to trade. I think they love Myles Garrett. I think they're going to take him. The 49ers, I think they have maybe like a 30% chance of trading back.
Very, very low, but if anything, it's going to be the Niners.
Exactly.
But this is where you guys come in. Let us know down below. What do you guys think? Buffalo Bill fans, I want to hear from you. Do you want your team to draft a quarterback? Well, trade up to get a quarterback. I'm expecting most of you guys to say no, but let us know down below what you guys think and what you think of these quarterbacks. We're going to be talking about them a lot as we get from now to the end of May.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and don't worry, there is plenty more where that came from. You guys can check it out right over here. Click that video, start watching it, and just stick around on Most Valuable Podcasts.